Welcome to Education in Focus. I'm Aliana Kernodle. The California Senate Appropriations Committee sent Assembly Bill 495 on its way to the Senate floor, despite strong opposition from Republicans. Joining me to tell us more is the Center Square's education reporter, Esther Wickham. Esther, we covered AB 495 before, but could you recap for us what the bill is about and what it would do?
Yeah, thanks, Eliana. So, AB 495, also known as the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025, is authored by Assemblymember Celeste Rodriguez. She is a Democrat from the San Fernando Valley. And this bill essentially comes in the face of the rise in deportation that we have seen the Trump administration cracking down on. Immigrant families have been detained and deported, and this bill, essentially from the Democrats, has the goal to unite families and to make sure that these immigrant families and these immigrant parents that are being detained and deported have a plan and are prepared for their children to be taken care of, for someone to protect these vulnerable children. And that's essentially the goal of the bill. The bill also instates a one-page affidavit form that these people that are planning to, take these children fill out. And according to the bill, it can be a non-relative extended family member. So my best friend's sister's cousin's husband could, potentially fill out this form. But also for these parents, it could be, a close family member as well. This one-page affidavit form could authorize, anything that has to do with school-related medical care, enrollment into a school, unenrollment of a school. And this form only requires you to fill out your name, your address, and then the minor that you're picking up, the child's name. And there's been a lot of, controversy and pushback from this. One aspect of it is that there is no requirement for a government ID or any consent or signature from the parents. And logically, this makes sense, for the Democrats, because if a family member or if a parent is detained or deported, they won't have access to filling out that form or to give that kind of consent. And so this is kind of a way for these parents to know that their child is still being taken care of and that they will have, a safety net to make sure that even though they're gone, someone will be taking care of their child. And so that's kind of what we've seen the past couple of months. Democrats have been pushing this bill because they want these immigrant families to have a safety net, to have a plan in action, as it's titled, the Family Preparedness Plan Act, to give these families an alternative option with the Trump administration cracking down on deportation and detainment of immigrant families.
So then, can you get into a little bit more of what's been said on each side as this debate has gone on?
Going back a couple of months ago, this started to become a huge issue for a lot of conservative family groups, family advocacy groups, because their biggest argument, specifically the California Family Council up here in Sacramento, California, state that this bill is a child trafficker's dream bill. Looking at the bill, they state that it doesn't specify this is only for immigrant families. This just says for California families. It doesn't specify that, in the event that your parents are detained, or deported, this is what's going to happen. It just says, anyone in California. So these conservative groups are saying that this one-page affidavit form, as they state, doesn't require any kind of government ID, doesn't require any kind of consent or form for the parents to sign, could be an opportunity for someone to essentially just walk into the school and take your child, because you can enroll or unenroll them in the school. Jonathan Keller, he's the president of the California Family Council, he said in a press release that essentially this bill undermines the parental authority by empowering, distant relatives people that are even unrelated to them, and at the end of the day, dangerous strangers with the unchecked access to children. And so this could, open a floodgate for registered, sex offenders to essentially walk into a school, claim your child, and they would, disappear into the night. So this is a huge issue for them, stating that this bill is reckless, it's dangerous, and it must be stopped. A few weeks back on August 19th, this conservative group, along with the Calvary Chapel Chino Hills Jack Hibbs pastor, came together at a rally to stand on the steps of the Sacramento Hill Capitol to stay against this bill, to talk about their thoughts on it, their opinions of it, and to push back against it. So we have seen a lot of opposition from the right, stating that, if this bill passes, it's going to do more harm than good. Attorneys are also speaking out against this, specifically one attorney, Nicole Pearson, who is the founder of Facts, Law, Truth, and Justice. She actually testified before the state Senate, saying essentially, that this bill could create, a breeding ground for these adults to, authorize medical treatment for these children, including mental health services, drugs, and other related things. And, this is what she had to say on the Senate floor.
I am also desperate to help children affected by ICE raids, but AB 495 is not it. We all know this because in 2021, the federal government faced a swell of unaccompanied minors at the border and was desperate to place them quickly. What did they do? They reduced vetting procedures, and as a result, the Department of Homeland Security has lost track of over now 600,000 unaccompanied minors. Despite this, California wants to do something similar, but even worse. With just one sheet of paper from the internet, California wants to let someone that is not related to your child remove her from school, enroll her in any other school in the state, authorize any medical treatment of her, including mental health services and drugs, without the parent's notice and knowledge or consent. This is not fear-mongering. I'm not being hyperbolic. It's stated right here in the caretaker's affidavit that I printed for you, which I pulled directly from the bill. Line 6 allows this transfer of parental rights without even having to speak to the parent. The author claims AB 495 is about giving immigrant families the agency to choose the safety plan that works, that preserves family unity. Where is the parental designation? Their signature at the bottom here is not required. She's co-opting a term, non-relative family member, from the foster care and dependency probate systems, but without any of the procedural guardrails. No background checks, no interviews, no home visits, no fingerprinting, parental involvement, or civil, criminal, or professional liability if the child is harmed.
So yeah, as you can see, this is a common argument that the conservatives are making. This is giving strangers or, non-relatives or even relatives of these children kind of unchecked authority to fill out this page. And the thing is to add, this one-page affidavit is available to anyone. In an interview with the Senator Tony Strickland, he's a Republican from Huntington Beach, California, he told me that, not only as a lawmaker, but as someone who is a father, he opposes this bill, essentially from the same arguments that we've heard before, but also he believes it's a government overreach in Sacramento. He believes that, this bill weakens parental rights by letting these other, non-relatives make critical decisions. It's not just like, oh, you have a scrape on your knee, let's go to the doctors. It's serious, medical procedures, medical treatments, and different things like that. And he says that, quote, it weakens the sacred bond between parents and their children. And so that's kind of the main arguments that we've seen on the right. And we will continue to see those arguments be made until we see, what exactly happens. A lot of people think that this bill is now law, but the reality is it's, as you said, it's being sent to the Senate floor. So it was the committee voted in a 5-2 decision for it. And now it's being sent to the full Senate for it to be voted on. And then the next process will be, for Governor Gavin Newsom to sign it, and then it will be, instated as law. But with this pushback, obviously, Rodriguez has responded. She and other groups are in support of this bill. And they have responded to what they call, misinformation from Californians' Christian right. And something that she said in a press release is, at the end of the day, her goal with making this bill is keeping families together. As we said, that's their goal. They want unity, because again, this in their minds is families being prepared in the case that they are detained or deported. And they want their families to be ensured that these kids are cared for and by people that they know and love. As she says, quote, "The claims from opponents are simply false and dangerous. No family should ever be torn apart because of immigration enforcement or misinformation." So, of course, Rodriguez, her main response is, this is all hyperbolic. This is fear-mongering, even though the attorney Pearson clearly said that she wasn't, as she held the, affidavit up in her hand. But according to Rodriguez, she's saying this is crazy that people would say, we are here to incentivize child traffickers and their thoughts. We are only here to keep families together, and we don't want it to be confusing. We don't want to spread misinformation. We want to stand together with immigrant families as they go through this hard time with the Trump administration cracking down on ICE and deportation. And we, at the end of the day, want to be advocates for these children and give them a chance to flourish and have opportunities within the state of California if their parents are taken away from them.
Well, Esther, thank you for your insights on this story. You can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.